enjoy the community gathering in Richmond Hill and listen to our speakers this evening. Very happy to be your moderator again this evening. And if you have any questions at any time, you can place them into the chat. We'll read them out and have them answered if we can and if time allows after each speaker. But rest assured, all the questions will be answered by our office. I'd like to now call up our MPP of Richmond Hill and Parliamentary Assistant to the Minister of Seniors and Accessibility, MPP Daisy Wai.
Thank you very much, Carly, and good evening, everybody. I'd like to take a moment to recognize some members of our community that have joined us this evening. First of all, I know that our minister is coming, and later on we'll have a longer introduction of our minister. And I'm happy that we have our Ward 3 Councillor, Councillor Castro Liu from the city of Richmond Hill. And I also noticed that Councillor David West will be here, but I have not seen him on my first page. So maybe he is on the second page or he is in the process of joining us. And I also have C.S. Leung registered. C.S. Leung is the former MP of Willowdale. And of course, we have our former MP from Richmond Hill, Costa Managaitis. I have a lovely good friend, David Cohen, who is our former Ward 3 councillor for the city of Richmond Hill. And we also have a lot of great community leaders with us. We have Charles Chi. He is the current board chair for RENA. We have Aslam Badad. He's the director of Nawada Educational Islamic Center. We also have Miriam Rashida. She is the owner for the Iranian Canadian Teens Club. I have not seen Habib yet, but Habib Tawawala will be joining us. He is from the Enuman, I want to make sure I got it pronounced correctly, Enuman Bohani, Toronto. He is the public relations officer there. And definitely we have a great time that is with us is from our officer who has been with us in already a couple of weeks, a couple of months already. He is Constable Officer Stephen Hanniger. And of course, our great speaker, Marisa, which I know Carly is going to recognize her and give her the introduction later on. Now, allow me to say a little bit of what our government has achieved in the past month. But before I do that, I just want to say, being this week is the police week, I just want to say thank you very much again for our Constable Stephen Hanniger for coming over, joining us from the York Regional Police. All the brave men and women serving at YRP deserves our respect and thank you and appreciation. This year's the Police Week theme is working together to keep our communities safe. What a good way to build relationship between the police and the communities. I still remember when I was serving on the Police Services Board, I keep on encouraging the relationship to be built between the communities and the police. Now it's not only the relationship being built, but working so closely together. And this time we're talking about working together. What a great way. Now this year, the police theme, working together, is to keep our communities safe. So it is a wonderful thing tonight that we have the Neighborhood Watch to inform us how we can keep our community safe through working with our neighbors with a special tool that they will be introducing, as well as we will have all the help from our great men and women from the York Regional Police. Thank you very much. I'd like to take this time to update you on the vaccines. As you may have seen, a stable and reliable expand eligibility to book the COVID-19 vaccine appointment beginning this week. I hope most of you has already take this advantage and get out to get the vaccines. Now in York region, as of this morning at 8:30, individuals with at-risk health such as like dementia, diabetes, and other diseases, they can come and register for the vaccine. Even, like also with the people that are serving on the in the front line, such as even grocery store, restaurant, transportation workers, they will be eligible to book a vaccine as well. Approximately 78,000 appointments were opened, which means the availability is very high right in York region. But I also want to say, by the end of this week, May 10th, we have the increased vaccine supply, which is why it allows us to be able to make a lot more appointments. I'm so happy to learn just today that we have already got 6.2 million people vaccinated. Yes, we want more, but soon as the supply of the vaccine increase, we have been doing that very, very quickly. Actually, on May 7th, we have a record day of, we have so many people that has been vaccinated as well. So now it is important to remember that a single dose provides significant protection against COVID-19. So I just want all of us to, as soon as you have the opportunity, don't even try to pick which vaccine that you should get, because each one of them had already gone through Canada, the Health Canada already review and make sure that they are all safe. So please come out and get vaccinated and get yourself protected. Even the first dose will give you a strong level of protection. Now, this is like the end of the tunnel for us. In fact, on Saturday, we have reached the milestone. So it is good. And if we have more of the people vaccinated, very soon we can get ourselves over this hurdle and get ourselves over this pandemic. But please continue to be diligent, because in the third wave, the spread of this infection is a consequence. A lot of them, unless you wash your hands, unless you keep your distance and wearing mask, you still have a chance to uh, get the virus. But the best thing to protect us is really, because this new variant is a concern, is coming in at an alarming rate. It is because of the open borders. We have been trying our best when these variants are arriving in Canada through the international travel every day. We have been trying to request the federal government make sure that we have further measures, further protection to limit the spread of the virus. And we will continue to push for it, because even though when they say, oh, it's only 2%, but the 2% means a lot for Ontario, because the 2%, a lot of the people coming through Ontario, when we see the number of people getting the virus, it's over 75% are from this variant disease. So we really have to push hard, and we'll continue to do that to protect the health of each and every one in Ontario. Well, now I just want us to see what else that we can do in order to help us, not only in protecting our health, we want to start seeing how we can start getting ourselves ready for the economic recovery. And I'm so happy that our government, especially in tourism, which has already hit very hard, our minister is here, not only to tell us how we can have her support in whether it's sports, whether it's culture, whether it's tourism, and our heritage. She is here to help to share with us how she can be of a support, and she also shared with us the Ontario Trillium Foundation. Through them, she has also granted the needed fund to support different organizations. I'll be very happy to have our Honorable Lisa McLeod to join us. It's a Yes, now I have seen my great colleague, Honorable Minister Lisa McLeod with us. I cannot wait to see all the great things that she has been sharing with us. She has the best energy in around at Queen's Park, and she has been always encouraging all of us. And I hope every one of us here tonight will be encouraged by her from her sharing. Thank you very much, Minister.
Thank
Please.
you. Thank you very much, Daisy. Let me repay the compliment. And I think everyone on this call knows the purest of hearts and the kindest of souls reside within you. And I will tell you, everyone's nodding their head. Daisy Wai, you have to be one of the most beautiful people on the face of this planet. And I'll tell you something, before I get into the meat of my remarks and acknowledge a couple other people that I know on the call, John Yakubuski and I have been sitting in the legislature together. I've just shared 15 years of service this year, him 17. We've been seatmates many times. We're seatmates now. And he looked at me one day when we were allowed to sit side by side in the legislature. Now, of course, we're about 12 feet apart, not just 6. And he looked at me and he said to me, "She has to be the nicest person I have ever met in politics." And Daisy, that's a true compliment. If you consider that John Yakubuski's father held his seat for 28 years, his cousin then held his seat for 28 years, and John will probably hold his seat for 28 years. The fact that he said that about you is something not only that I agree with, but I think speaks just to your personality and to your credit. And I want to give you a great congratulations for your private members bill on recognizing not-for-profit organizations. And as you know, your team worked with mine because the Ontario Trillium Foundation, which is so critically vital to not-for-profits across the province, serves that. And so I want to congratulate you on that. We support that, and I know that legislation will really recognize critical volunteers. Just before we get started, wanted to say hello to a very old friend of mine, and I don't want to date either of us, but C.S. Leong is on the line. I want to say hello to you. And I'll tell you, that little bagpiper over there from Willowdale, him and I have known each other for, I'm going to say it's got to be 25 or something now years, CS, but great to see you. And I also see Kostas Minagakis here. I want to say hello to you. You can't see her on the line, Kostas or CS, but one of your colleagues, when you served under Prime Minister Harper, is here. And that's my Chief of Staff, Susan Troupe. And she's doing great work. So I just wanted to say that. And I'll start my actual remarks this way. Daisy just said it doesn't matter which vaccine you get, just get it. I had AstraZeneca on Friday. I feel protected. I feel grateful, and I know it's going to take another 3 weeks to kick in. I'm going to have to get a second dose, but really, what is going to help us recover socially and economically beyond even the healthcare situation is all of us being vaccinated. And earlier today, I had a lunch and learn for my sectors. We had about 1,400 people on the call with Dr. David Williams and Daryl Bricker of Ipsos Reid. And so with the experts in public health and the experts in public opinion, the reality is for us to actually fully recover in all 3 areas with this crisis is to make sure that we're vaccinated and people are comfortable, they know that they're safe and that they feel safe. Now to Daisy's point, with not-for-profits and volunteering, our not-for-profit sector is going to suffer for 2 reasons. One is people don't have the money that they normally would in order to provide those much needed donations and their philanthropic efforts. That's going to be a challenge. So we got to prepare for that at the community level. The second area is volunteerism. And I just popped off a call with our colleague, Khalid Rashid, doing a Ramadan event in my riding where I have 2 large mosques. And we were talking about getting volunteers back into what they used to be able to do. The fact is, what we recognize today and what we learned from the data is that volunteers are very nervous about protecting themselves and protecting others with respect to COVID-19. So that vaccine is absolutely going to be critical in order for us to get volunteers to help out at soccer, to be there at the food cupboards, to support our hospices, and to be there for our festivals and events. And so let me talk a little bit more about the sector. And you know, it was mentioned I'm a tourism minister, but I'm here to support tourism and culture industry. So you're dealing with the ultimate small business sector with some of the biggest brands in the country, in the world actually, like the Toronto Raptors and Air Canada. And then you're dealing with the largest volunteer sector in Canada. And so that's why we want to try and support the sectors as best we can in multiple different ways. Daisy mentioned the Ontario Trillium Foundation. The OTF has an annualized budget of $103 million each year, which we encourage people and not-for-profits to apply for seed or growth programming. In addition to that, however, over the next 2 years, we've invested an additional $105 million to support our sectors to regrow our community building capacity. We really want to see our museums, our cultural attractions, our sporting events, you know, come back to life. In addition to that, and you know, your riding, obviously, Daisy, is very diverse, just like mine is. You want to really support what we call in this ministry the World in One Province, which is encouraging people to get back to festivals and events. And I'm not saying 10,000 people at a blues fest. I'm saying right now, it's a virtual event, something like this, where we actually bring people together to support what I did earlier tonight, which was Ramadan, or yesterday with the Chinese community in Ottawa, a special Mother's Day event. And when the stay-at-home order lifts, drive-in and drive-through virtual events, which became very popular last year. So we have a $20 million fund dedicated to that. We're encouraging people to take advantage of that and really start to reconnect in a safe way, like we haven't been able to do in many, many months. The other interesting investment that this ministry is going to be making over the next year is $50 million to our religious and cultural organizations. We recognize a couple of things. And just as I said earlier about our not-for-profits, our religious organizations and our cultural community events organizations are often a place where people are going to either visit a food bank, they're going to get mental health services, they're finding spirituality. We need to make sure that post-COVID-19 or in the next couple of months that we actually are lifting them up. So we have a $50 million fund that will be available to get our religious and cultural organizations back up and running so that they can provide the services that they need to at a very important time. And in the next week and a bit, I'll be announcing the first $100 million in a small business tourism grant for our operators across Ontario who were not initially included in the small business grants. In addition, we have another $100 million in terms of product development and placement that we'll be announcing in short order. But all well and said, we have had over $625 million invested into the sector over and above our existing allocation last year. And in this year's budget, we're able to access about $1 billion worth of supports, whether that's, but not necessarily in my ministry, but also through the Ministry of Labor, through the Ministry of Infrastructure, the Ministry of Municipal Affairs and Housing, things that really support the work that we do in what we would call and consider the hardest hit sectors. So we were hit first, hardest, and will take the longest to recover. And so we're doing a lot of work in that field and in that space. But you know, I got to congratulate Daisy being a visionary on the on her piece of legislation and being a visionary for holding these, which I understand she's doing quite frequently and regularly, and having great community leaders on here, I think is a real testament to her leadership in her riding. So with that, you know, Daisy, I can take some questions and really happy to be here tonight and very proud of you for all the great work that you're doing. But we do have a lot of supports through this ministry and through others in order to get our museums back up and running, our kids sports back up and running. And I know someone's going to ask me about golf tonight. We want to make sure that gets up and running, but we got to be safe to do it, which is why these vaccines and that border issue is absolutely critical and important. So Daisy, back over to you. And if you have any questions, happy to answer them. And if not, you know, I'll say good night to you early.
Thank you, Minister. I know a lot of us will be writing down the question and will be forwarding all those questions to you and ask that, and then we will be forwarding it to you, or we will be helping to answer some of them. But I know quite a number of them are from the tourism sector. They are here just to, because oh, Minister of Tourism is here. I really want to find out how can our business be relieved from it. I heard we know about staycation and others that you've done a lot of work in that area. Is there something that you can let them know? We have a lot of restaurants business in Richmond Hill. They are also suffering very badly. How can we support them?
There, I found myself on mute. You'd only think 14 months into this, I'd figure it out. First things first is we've been working extremely well with Restaurants Canada and the Ontario Restaurant Hotel Motel Association. And I believe I have a meeting either tomorrow or the next day with my working group. And we're trying to figure out, while they have not been forced closed because they can still offer takeout and delivery, how do we support them in the longer term? And so that work is being done right now. My next meeting will include some time with the Minister Doug Downey to talk about some of the AGCO rules. And so that's going to be exciting, I think, for me and for them to see how we can transform that in a longer term to support them. You'll recall early on in the pandemic, we relaxed alcohol takeout and delivery rules for restaurants to give them a little bit of support. And so we're just looking, how do we do that a little bit more? I've already had Prabmeet Sakaria, our small business minister, meet with them as well. And so that work continues. Earlier today at my Lunch and Learn, we did have 1,400 participants, and everyone was encouraged to order local food from their local favorite restaurants. So we actually had a campaign today called hashtag lunch for local, or local for lunch, sorry. And so we got that trending. It was kind of fun. We had some momentum. So I think it's absolutely critical that we figure out a path forward for our restaurants. There has been some supports that they have received, but I think moving a path forward and getting out of this situation that we're currently in is going to be absolutely critical. You talked a little bit about travel. So when it's safe to do so, and thanks for reminding me of this because I didn't mention it in my opening remarks, but we do have a $150 million travel incentive. It's a 20% tax credit that will take effect when it's safe to do so. God willing, and my hope is going to be July the 1st, where when Ontarians start to support hyperlocal activity, or they go to the next neighborhood or next city over and they stay overnight. If you're from Richmond Hill and you decide you're going to go up to Barrie, or you're from Barrie and you want to go down to Niagara Falls, or Niagara Falls, you're going to go over to Windsor, from Windsor, you're going to go to Paley Island, whatever, that travel incentive will kick in and hopefully spur hyper local activity that we had somewhat last summer, but just encouraging a little bit more transition in travel. And so again, we have that. We also have a task force that has been headed by former Progressive Conservative leader and former tourism minister, Tim Hudak, that is making its report to me in the next couple of weeks to talk about how we can really support our gateway cities, our signature destinations, and build out itinerary-based travel. And my hope is we start to really develop something in Ontario that's more authentic and focused than it's ever been before. And one area, going back to the sort of restaurant piece, is the culinary and craft piece of this, which is the food that we have here from our agritourism and our rural communities can help sustain, ridings like mine and yours, Daisy, which are urban environments, and sell real farm to table food at the same time, really developing that craft side of things with distilleries, cideries, wineries, and breweries. And so we're really integrating this. We have a 5 to 10 year, a 5-year plan, but we believe we could be 10 years into this recovery. And just keep in mind this COVID-19 crisis has lasted longer and has got deeper than the global economic crisis, SARS, and 9/11 all put together. I mean, that's how big this is in these sectors.
Well, thank you very much, Minister. Just listening to you covering all those areas, I I have to salute to you how much work that you have done. Not only tourism is already a big part, and then you're also into sports, a lot into cultures, and to like the Trillium Foundation and all that. I just want to say thank you for working so hard for all of us. Thank you very much.
Well, thank you all. And thank you, Daisy. I can't be more proud to be, a part of this government and to serve with such outstanding citizens just like yourself. And wanted to thank everybody for taking the time and inviting me on here tonight. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Minister.
Thank you very much.
Yeah.
I'd like to now welcome Mo Jiwan from the Bayview Hills Neighborhood Watch, the featured topic of the month. Mo, thank you for being here.
Oh, you're welcome. Thank you for inviting me. It's wonderful to share some of this knowledge we've accumulated. So should I share my screen or do you
Yes,
have?
please
Yeah?
go right
Okay.
ahead and share
All
the
right.
screen.
I'm sorry, my privacy settings. I just have to change them. I'm so sorry.
Oh, that's okay.
So while Mo is setting, and I really encourage everyone, if you have any question, please send it to me and then I will forward it over to the minister and to his staff. They will be answering your specific questions there.
Absolutely. And I just want to recognize that David Cohen put a question. Now, I know we have two David Cohens. If you could raise your hand, which one of you put it into the chat? Oh, thank you. I see you, David. So I'll make sure that question gets answered. Thank you.
I'll just do a quick tech check. You guys can see my screen?
Yes.
Yeah, okay, wonderful. So thank you again, Daisy, for inviting us, or for inviting me. And then I sent the notice out to a bunch of our neighbors, and I think some of them are online. I've been in Richmond Hill since 2003, very specifically in my neighborhood here since 2012. We moved here in December 2012 when our second daughter was born. And, we moved here, and typical to Richmond Hill and other suburbs, it's an area where people drive to their home and open their garage and drive into their garage and then close the garage, and you really never meet anyone. And we thought, okay, well, maybe when summer comes along, we'll make some friends and we'll make some connections. But what ended up happening is we accelerated that a little bit. And I'll just switch to next page, sorry. We, in our very immediate neighborhood, we started seeing a lot of break and enters. Now, outside of COVID, nobody's home, so there's tendency of higher break and enters, but during COVID, everybody's home, so we've seen them drop. But in my neighborhood, very specifically, there was a lot of break and enters. One house had a home invasion, and it was deemed a home invasion because somebody was home when the perps sort of broke into the house. Although I run my group for Neighborhood Watch, I'm not the instigator. It's two lovely ladies who are my neighbors. They started the program for our area here. They knocked on my door in January 2013, I think, and they were recruiting people to start the Neighborhood Watch program. And that snowballed. And our intent was really create awareness and communication, share information about some of the break and enters that were happening. Out of that, we recruited about 100 members. If I look at my WhatsApp group for my group, we have about 100. We're one of the smaller groups. There are some much larger groups, and I'll show you that later. And we share everything on that WhatsApp group, from lost dogs. You'd be amazed at how many dogs are lost in our area. I don't know what happens, but a lot of lost dogs. Today I saw a note about a turtle. Somebody found a turtle. Anything from lost dogs to burnt lights, and having lights that function in the area are important because they light the path and they create awareness, to suspicious activities. You'll be amazed at what happens once you start a Neighborhood Watch program and you've got your neighbors involved, and then you know everyone. I know pretty much everybody who lives in my area. I know the cars. It's very quick to identify something, someone, or a car that's just not meant to be there. You know, a car that's parked outside my house for too long, I get messages from my neighbors that'll say to me, "Hey, there's a van parked outside your house. Are you expecting someone?" And now we have a whole process on how we follow these incidents, and then with the partnership we have with YRP, we're able to report them. Something really fun that happened in our neighborhood, I don't know if it's happened in the other neighborhood watch programs, is that we actually have a annual summer gathering. I live in a court, and Castro, you know, our local counselor, who's a big supporter, always comes out and gives us a hand. And we've had everything from barbecues to bouncy castle for kids. I think for a couple of years we've had food trucks, but it literally gathers the entire neighborhood into our court here, and it gets us all talking and getting to know each other. You know, if I go away on vacation, at least two of my neighbors know they'll keep an eye on my house. March break is a big time to go away, and sometimes in March there's still snow. One of my neighbors will sometimes park his car in my driveway if my cars are in the garage or one is at the airport. They'll make sure the snow is removed. If you know, if there's mail or, you know, the Liberal or anything lying around on the driveway, some of our neighbors will pick them up, right? And some of them will tell me, you know, I saw that somebody dropped the package. Can you pick it up for me? And I'll be back next week. That's what we've been able to create in our community. And it's been incredibly helpful. We have seniors who are walkers, and they walk a lot. Our dog owners who walk their dogs, they're always keeping an eye on things, and it's been super helpful, you know, as a community. And, you know, so for those who know me, I'm friendly and I like to know who lives around me, and I like to have them over, and we all sort of create a little community. It's a great way to get to know everyone. More importantly, it's a great way to secure your house. I'll share a quick anecdotal story before I jump to the next slide that really, for me, embellish or envelopes the entire spirit of Neighborhood Watch. So this is in about I think it was about 2016. I was traveling in Europe, and one of my neighbors was walking. And so there's another house on this other side, and he walked by and he texted me, and he said, you know, I'm smelling gas. Everybody knows what gas smells like. They put a product in it for you to smell. And I told him, please just like stop texting me, call 911. Not only did he call 911, but because he knows my wife and children were home alone, he actually took my family to his house, which is, you know, further away and protected from any potential risk. Another house over there, they evacuated their house. And you know what, guys? It was a full-on gas leak that somebody had at their water heater for their swimming pool. So Neighborhood Watch saved a bunch of lives, a bunch of homes. It's pretty big, right? So I think for me, that's a story that I tell every time I have an opportunity to talk about Neighborhood Watch. Fast forward a few years, Neighborhood Watch grew in Bayview Hill, which is the neighborhood we're in. We are now sectioned off in 9 groups, and each group has a leader. I'm number 6. Like I said, I have one of the smallest one because that's all I can manage. But our team leaders in number 1, number 4, number 8, number 9. One of my good friends, Adam, I think is on the call. He manages one of these, and it's become absolutely a monster of a program for the neighborhood. And you know, kudos to all the volunteers and the leaders who participate, but more importantly, kudos to Officer Stephen, who helps us. He's with YRP. He helps us get things organized. He recruits more people. He grows the program. We're heavily supported by Castro as well, our local minister, our local councillor, sorry. And of course, finally, Daisy, who has now, you know, jumped in with both feet and is helping us spread the message as well. Often at these Neighborhood Watch programs, we also talk about, you know, what can you do for your home hardening and what can you do for protection and things like that. Everything from cameras to we have this 3M film on our windows, to the Ring doorbells, to there's all kinds of creative ways to do it. I'm not a home security expert. I'm like most of you on the phone, on the call. I go on YouTube and I read about it. The most brilliant gadget I found, and I use it all the time, is I found a little box that has a 360 motion detector on it that sits by our doorway. And when we leave, we activate it and it barks like a dog. And you're gonna laugh, but the last thing somebody who breaks into your house wants to deal with is a big angry dog. And a lot of my neighbors who now know about it, they walk by and they'll text me, they'll say, I think your dog wants to get out of the house. He keeps barking when I walk by. What they don't realize is the range of for the motion detector is so broad that if anybody even walks by the sidewalk, the dog starts barking. So some anecdotal things you can do to protect your house, but the most important thing I would leave you with today, my fellow citizens of Richmond Hill and York Region, is please reach out to Officer Stephen Hennigar. His contact information is here, and he will get you started. If you're the leader in your neighborhood, if you're not, we'll help you. We'll get you started. It's not that difficult. It's a great way to create that neighborhood watch program in your area, create some sense of awareness and support. And lately, our neighborhood watch WhatsApp group has all been about vaccinations. A few of our neighbors have become really good at finding where the next vaccine spots are. And so there's lots of information like that being shared. So it grows as a community service. That's it. I'm happy to take any questions if there's time.
Wonderful. Does anybody have any questions for Mo? I mean, it makes me want to create one, to be honest with you, because I don't think we have one in our area, or maybe I should get involved. But I think it's so nice to know everyone and really get a feel for what's going on in your own neighborhood.
Yeah, no, it's important. Something I forgot to mention, there's a presentation tomorrow with Officer Stephen, who's presenting it. And so it's a great way to get to know not only Officer Stephen, but the other members of the leadership of the program in our area.
And anyone can join that?
Yeah, Stephen can speak to that. I don't think there's any restrictions. This is for York Region broadly. We'd love to have chapters across York Region, up and down and east and west.
Oh, we can't hear you. Yes, exactly, Marge. I might want to join that if I can.
I think you are, it's still muted. Now you're unmuted. Can you talk?
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay, perfect. I think it had something to do with the headphones. So I guess just to touch on a couple of things. I hear Daisy talk and she says, thank you, Stephen, the police, and Mo says the same thing. Thank you, the police. But I think it's good to remember that we're all part of the machine, right? You need the police, but we need you as well. And that's what Neighborhood Watch is all about. It's having eyes and ears out in the community. And, we're also trying to better what we do with Neighborhood Watch. So, we're realizing how valuable it is. And so now what we're using Neighborhood Watches for is I'm able to send messages out on current trends and, seasonal activity, things that are going on. I can send it to our leaders who can now send it out to thousands of people, right? So the messaging that we want to get across can be directed right to different neighborhoods, right? So if I know that there's a trend currently in Bayview Hills, I can focus my crime prevention directly to that area, okay? I think it's great that we heard from Mo, because that, I give my speech and it's kind of from a police standpoint, but it's also great to hear from a citizen who's actually in it. And often I say, Neighborhood Watch is all about bringing it back to how it was in the 80s, Hopefully most people were around in the 80s. You know, it's too often now we see in neighborhoods, the vehicle pulls in, the garage goes up, the car goes in, and we never see those neighbors, right? Back in the day, if you saw someone pull up to your neighbor's house, you knew if that vehicle was supposed to be there. You know, it's not about being nosy, but it's about being aware. So yeah, I'm definitely happy. If anyone wants to contact me, I'd be happy to talk to them and send them some information on Neighborhood Watch, or even attend to their house and do a CEPTED or a crime audit where we can maybe pick out some different vulnerabilities within your house. So thank you very much, Mo. I appreciate that.
That's wonderful. Thank you so much. Okay, now it's time for our next program, Getting to Know Your Neighbor. Every month, we introduce a community in Richmond Hill and learn more about them so we can support each other better in the community. This month, we're honored to have Marisa Agostini from the Italian community provide a presentation, and she is from a local women's group. If you could tell us
Yes.
more about that too, Marisa.
Thank you for inviting me. I'm quite honored to be here. Yeah, I belong to what we call us. Let me read it. I think I go better with reading than just, you know. First of all, I want to thank you for having me here. I think it's great. And as I understand, you're celebrating the Italian Heritage Month this month, or is it? I know it's next month. It's in June, right?
It is in June, yes.
Okay, so that's quite good. So my name is Marisa, and I was supposed to have a couple of my lady friends and committee members with me, but I don't see them. We are a part of a successful women who are women immigrants who have worked in careers in which we've had the honor to influence numerous people in varied communities that go beyond Ontario. Our Ito-Canadian Older by Vibrant Women group was established a few years ago. Our aim is to celebrate our Italian heritage, share our stories as women immigrants, and leave behind a long, and a strong legacy for generations to come. Our long-term goal is to further explore ways in which we can concretely affect all Canadian-born children, young adults, on what it means to be an Italian descent, all that it has shaped them to be, and to be proud of their heritage. We're actually in the process of planning a variety of Italian-based activities and programs that aim to draw in as many younger people as possible to these, which these could include all aspects of Italian art and language, connecting the older, the mom, the nonna, the zia, to the younger, the son, the daughter, the grandchildren. One of our strong supporters, Villa Charities, which is run through a long-standing cultural center on called, I'm not sure if you're familiar, it's called the Columbus Center. It's well known and you know, and it's been there for a long time. There are not very many cultural centers except the Italian Congress, but this has been there for at least over 30 years. Other celebratory events we are going to be planning soon, and they can be in different, you know, hopefully when everything opens up, it'll be live in other venues. We would like to set up our website as a non-profit organizations. We haven't quite done that. And I've put on the chat, you know, how we can benefit from the Trillium program to get some funds to get us started. I think that would be, so I don't know if you could lead me into this information.
Absolutely.
So our programs for young adults and children will be, you know, a variety of different activities from all different aspects of our culture, music, artists, you name it. We're planning long-term to really cover all our bases of our Italian culture. So again, thank you for having me. I don't know if anybody has any questions, please feel free to ask me.
Thank you so much, Marisa. If we wanted to know more about your program, is there anywhere to look? Do you have a Facebook page or?
No,
anything?
not quite yet. We are trying to, as I said, set up a website, you know, and it's in the works, you know, it will be set up soon. But I have sent, we have sent through the Italian Congress, we send our poster. So hopefully it'll be out soon. We're going to have our second chat on June 5th, which is a Saturday. So if anybody would like to come, they're welcome to participate. I can send out, you know, my email to you and you can forward it to anyone who would like to participate. You're very welcome. So we're hoping to set up that website for sure soon, sooner than later.
Definitely, we will be able to send it out and promote that as well. June is the month for, it's the Italian Heritage Month.
Right.
We specifically put this in May just so that we can promote the month the next month, because I know there are so many different kind of programs, activities, and this Monday Matters, we only have 1 hour that cover all this kind of different topics. So I am happy that we will definitely send that out to get people to come and watch and also enjoy the program. I was told that you will have somebody to read a poem for us tonight.
Yes, and she was here at the beginning, but I looked through the our pictures here and she must have been gone. Something must have happened.
Oh.
Yeah, she was ready. I saw her. Her name is Lillian Conti, but she, yeah, I'm not sure what happened.
So I think we'll see her in June.
Yeah, hopefully. Yeah, this would be a good reason for you to be invited there, right?
Yeah.
There'll be a few ladies who will be reading their poems and they'll be, you know, honored to have you there.
Okay. And talking about shop local and eat local, there are so many great Italian food in Richmond Hill. So make sure you go, and even have some takeouts are good. We have
I have supported a lot of restaurants. I come from a big family, so my son is always ordering in, you know, and my daughters as well. Like, we're really big about supporting the community. I mean, you know, I can't imagine like people losing all this much money, you know. I wonder where we're going to go with this. And it's unfortunate that we have to look at this in a negative way, but it's a reality. So many people out of work and they're affected. Yeah, so we're big, my family especially, we're really big about ordering in.
Give us some introduction to Italian food in Richmond Hill. Tell us some places that we should go and what is good and what to order.
Well, you know what's really funny, because we cook Italian, we order other foods. We order Portuguese, we order Chinese, we order other foods versus Italian because we make the Italian food. So we don't.
Right.
Nobody makes it better than homemade.
Isn't that weird? Like, maybe it's weird, but but it makes sense to us because we don't know how to cook the other, so we order in.
So
I can't help you.
Eat.
Pardon?
So we'll come to your home to eat.
I have a nice backyard. Yeah, we can eat outside, no problem.
Thank you very much, Marisa. And I guess
for having me.
Yeah, it's too bad that we don't have the sharing of the poem, but we know that we can get that off from your programs coming up in June.
Yeah, you're more than welcome to, you know, to participate, and you will hear all about us and our planning, our readings, our connecting, and yeah.
Wonderful. Yeah. Absolutely. Okay, well, thank you so much. I think that we've all learned quite a lot tonight. So thank you so much to everyone for organizing their presentations. And this was a fantastic evening. So I'm going to invite MPP Wai back now for her closing remarks.
Thank you very much, Carly. Thank you, all the speakers and all the guests, and giving us such a wonderful presentation so that we learn more about Neighborhood Watch and learn more about the Italian community. Um, we in Richmond Hill, we have a lot of different communities. It's great to get to know each other and and support each other and share each other's food and festivals and customs. So I just want to say that next month in June, we are going to have another ministry coming to share with us. And this time we also have a presentation from Dr. Kurji, who is from York Region's Medical Officer of Health. He will come and share with you more. We will have another ministry to share with us, especially on mental health. And I wish you everybody have a great night, and you will be receiving more information from us. And until next month, I would hope that by next month we are seeing light at the end of the tunnel. We would not have the COVID, and yeah, it's very good to see all of you. And before I close off, I like to, just now I have already introduced some of our dignitaries. Can I ask them to say a few words and say a few words and hi to us at least? Can I start it off with our Ward 3 Councillor Castro Liu? You got a lot of your constituents in here because they are from your neighbor.
Well, thank you for having me, Daisy. I wasn't prepared to speak. And nice to see Constable Stephen Hanniga. Mo, you did a great job, presenting the Neighborhood Watch. And we are here to build our community. And thank you, Daisy, for hosting this Monday Matters. And it's really, really good opportunity for us to get together, know each other, and talk about our community. Thank you.
Oh, thank you very much for coming. We should just come here as friends and then get to know each other. And I love to see our great friend, former MP Costa Menegaitis, to say hi to us.
Hi, good evening, everybody. Thank you, Daisy. It was a pleasure to be here once again for Monday Matters. It's become, a highlight every month, checking in and finding out what's happening at Queen's Park. You do such a great job for us here in Richmond Hill, and such a great job informing all of us about what's going on and what to expect in the future. It was a great presentation by Minister McLeod. It was so nice to see her. Haven't seen her in a while, actually. And of course, Constable Henniger, I mean, you've been on here several times, and every time you speak, we learn from you. So thank you so much for being part of this. We know how busy you are. I don't know Mr. Jiwan personally, but I'm delighted that he was here tonight and talked to us about Neighborhood Watch. It was a fantastic presentation.
Yeah.
Thank you for all the good work that you do, sir, in the community. And Marissa, it's nice to meet you. Thank you for joining us. It's nice to see the Italian community is vibrant and growing and a dynamic part of certainly Richmond Hill. I see many, many good friends on here. Castro, as always, it's a pleasure to see you, my friend. My former colleague and one of my best friends, C.S. Liang, is here. Thank you so much, C.S., for joining us once again and for all the work you do in the community. I see Marge Andre and so many other people that do so much for us in the community. Daisy, you make it all possible by bringing us all together. So I want to thank you, Carly, and all of your staff for keeping the community so engaged. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you very, very much, my former MP, Costa Menegaitis. And of course, I will have to say hi to my great friend. Not only is he the founder for the Chinese Business Association, he is a resident in Richmond Hill, my good friend, our former MP, C.S. Leung. He is the former MP for Willowdale. Can you say a few words to us?
Thank you, Daisy, and thank you for the opportunity to speak. I learned in politics, sometimes you never speak after Kostas Menegakis, because he would have said everything that I would have wanted to say. But anyway, although we cannot be together physically, it is a pleasure to meet the community once a month in this a wonderful Monday meeting, Monday Matters. I think you have kept us together during these very difficult times. So thank you again and keep it up.
Thank you very much. Well, it's 8:30. I really should not keep any one of you any longer, right, Carly? I leave you with closing tonight's off, and let's work towards the next meeting in June.
Thank you so much for coming, everyone. I hope you can all make it again next month. And until then, stay safe. Have a